Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Library Love for Library Reads. I'm Susan Maguire, Booklist Senior Editor for Collection Management and Library Outreach. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable them on your screen, please look for and click the Show Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of them at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Margot McCoy, Library Marketing Coordinator at Macmillan Publishers, Davina Tomlin, Associate Marketing Manager for MacKids School and Library Team, which is part of the Macmillan Publishers family, Lainey Mays, Senior Manager, Library Marketing at HarperCollins Publishers, Melissa Croce, Senior Marketing Manager at Simon & Schuster, and Golda Rademacher, Library Sales and Marketing Director at Norton Company. For those of you who are not familiar with LibraryReads, let me tell you just a little bit about the organization. LibraryReads is a 501c6 not-for-profit that started as a volunteer organization in 2013 when a group of 12 librarians brainstormed on how they could harness the power of library staff recommendations to create a nationwide list of recommended reads. The Library Reads list is different from a bestseller list or an awards list in that it is always pre-pub books, and it is not picking the best of anything. There are no juries or committees. The list is voted on by the library world at large. Anyone who works in a public library in any capacity is eligible to get advance copies of the books and vote on them for the monthly Library Reads Top 10 list. The organization also exists in order to offer free readers advisory training, conference author panels, and programming to public library staff. Please check out their website, www.libraryreads.org, for the current list and more information on how you can join. And now on to the books. We will kick things off with Margot McCoy. Margot is the Library Marketing Coordinator at Macmillan. After graduating from the University of Central Florida with a double major in writing and rhetoric and advertising public relations, she attended the Columbia Publishing course. In 2021, she started working at Macmillan as an assistant for the library marketing, academic marketing, and wholesale teams. She then spent 2 years as the coordinator for the academic marketing team and is now back on the library side. Her favorite genres include literary fiction, mysteries and thrillers, and fantasies. Born and raised in Florida, she now lives in New York. Thanks for being here, Margot.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm Margot. I'm with Macmillan. Here are all of the ways you can get in touch with us online. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about any of the books I'm talking about today. Next slide. Many of the titles we'll be talking about today already are or will be available to read on Edelweiss. So if you're not already whitelisted for automatic downloads, just send us an email at the email address on the screen and we will get you all set up. Next slide. And please feel free to join us on Mondays at 4 p.m. for our Happy Half Hour series where we talk about all of the upcoming books we're excited about. Next slide. And be sure to check out our big book club resource guide where you can stay up to date with book club news, sweepstakes, discussion guides, and more. And now we move on to the books. First up is Lost in Space by Rebecca Thorne. After making cozy romantasy her thing, Rebecca Thorne has shifted to space travel, but still cozy and romantic. In the first book in this new trilogy, Starship Captain Torian searches for a hospitable planet where her sick sister can breathe more freely and begins to collect a motley crew of found family, including the sentient moss that has integrated with her starship. It features a slow burn romance with lots of pining between Torian and her ex-captain Amelia, and Rebecca takes the cozy lesbian dynamics readers love and sends them out of this world. Next slide is Pretty Dead Things by Kelsey Cox. In the year 2000, Isabel Whitmore vanished from Sherman Ranch in Texas without a trace. Now, in 2025, the annual beauty pageant is bringing everyone back together again. And when old resentments and new confrontations reach their boiling point, temperatures drop to deadly degrees as a record-setting storm brings down the state's power grid. With everyone trapped under one roof, scores will be settled and more than one person will end up dead. This is a locked room mystery that hits all of the right suspense notes. It'll be perfect for fans of Leanne Moriarty and Mary Kubica. Next up is Fabulous Bodies by Chuck Tingle. This is a new supernatural joy read where Drive meets Beetlejuice. By day, Poppy is an aspiring fashion influencer, and by night, she is a Palm Springs grave robber to make ends meet. When her idol, the flamboyant rock star Eddie Michaels, unexpectedly dies, she is hired to retrieve his body for a massive payout, and it's the ultimate score until Eddie wakes up. Now, Poppy must fight to survive a blood-soaked joyride of carnage and extravagant entertainment. Next up is Crash Into Me by Robin Lee. Robin Lee's next book is another propulsive story about a woman dealing with complex circumstances. Cecilia is a photographer in a complicated marriage, facing worries about raising her biracial children in Los Angeles' toxic playground of privilege and power, and is struggling to find her real self among the many labels assigned to her: wife, mother, artist, and daughter. But then a second chance encounter after a small fender bender changes everything. No one writes the dynamics of women's lives better than Robin Lee, and here she touches on many topics such as sexual fluidity, emotional barriers, male-dominated industries, consent, the urge to create, and racial identity. Next up is The Great Wherever by Shannon Sanders. After inheriting her late father's share of a Tennessee farm, 32-year-old Aubrey leaves her struggling life in D.C. to escape debt and heartbreak. Her rival is watched by four ghosts, her ancestors, who pass on judgment on the living while fearing their expulsion if the property is sold. As Aubrey reconnects with her family, another story unfolds in parallel, a family history of the land and the tragedy it caused, dating back to her great-grandfather and echoing through the decades. Now Aubrey must weigh the burdens of her forebears against her own future. This is an expensive family saga that explores the way we define ourselves through our family, how we carry on after loss, and how the past lives on in all of us. Next up is Destination Funeral by Paige Harbison. When four once inseparable but now estranged friends reunite for their former matriarch's funeral on a stormy coastal Georgia island, they expect a quick, awkward weekend of nostalgia and grief. But instead, they wake up trapped in a time loop, repeating the same Saturday over and over again. Trapped with no end and no way off the island, they're forced to confront the betrayals and secrets that shattered them years ago, and if they can't make peace with the past or with each other, they may never get to leave. This will be perfect for fans of Taylor Jenkins Reid and Rebecca Searle. Next up is The Secret Dinner by Rafael Montes. Four childhood friends, eager for a taste of city life, swap rural Brazil for an apartment in Copacabana, Rio. But they have no idea of the fate that awaits them there. Needing to make money so they can keep their apartment, they adopt an unorthodox plan and are soon sucked into a dark world of secret dinner parties, catering to the twisted fantasies of Rio's elite. And as their plan quickly spirals out of control, the stakes get higher and the consequences get deadlier, threatening not only their friendship, but also their lives. This is already a bestseller in Brazil, and it combines the darkly funny vibes of the menu and the absurdist commentary of the substance. Next up is The Divine Gardener's Handbook by Eli Snow. This is a joyful science fantasy adult debut about love, ambition, and toxic work culture for fans of Tamsin Muir and Rebecca Thorne. A gardener dreams of a job in the divine gardens, tending to the plants overseen by God. Her only way in is to win an annual flower pageant, one that's been dominated by the insufferable head gardener for 5 years. And when she plays dirty and wins, she jumps headfirst into the gardens and a rivalry with the woman she can't stop thinking about. Pranks, backstabbing, and heated glares endure until they're both drawn into a plot to take down God, who is really just some guy with a great garden. The author's inspiration for this relationship was, what if, instead of arguing, my autistic side and my ADHD side fell in love? And what follows is a joyful, layered relationship between two lovable and flawed characters. Next up, The Oxford Guide to Scandal and Lies by Kate Westbury. This is a light academia, slow burn debut that is set against the backdrop of post-World War II Oxford. Ginevra and Sydney are the Crown's newest undercover operatives. Gin is a brilliant student eager to prove that she is more than a debutante, and Sydney is determined to forge a new life at Oxford, far from his childhood mining village. They have very little in common, but when a Soviet spy is discovered at the university, and the agent that is tracking them is poisoned, the British Secret Service unites Jin's charm with Sydney's espionage experience and tasked to identify the informant before more sensitive information is compromised. They must navigate their clashing personalities to follow the clues before they get caught. If the sparks flying between them don't blow up the operation first. And this will be perfect for fans of the Veronica Speedwell mysteries and books like The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels and A Most Agreeable Murder. Next up is Fallow by Sarah Anderson. Seeking an escape from the grind of low-wage labor and student debt, Natalie becomes the world's first in-house corporate surrogate, trading bodily autonomy for a life of luxury and total financial security. However, as the experimental program nears its end, a sudden staffing shift forces her to confront the true cost of her freedom and what it means to exist within a system that commodifies every part of her. This is a hilarious, provocative novel that will delight fans of social satires like Yellowface and Severance, as well as novels about human connections like Such a Fun Age and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Next up is Bad Words by Rihanna Robinson. Parker Navarro's debut was the literary flop of the decade after a harsh review by critic Selena Chan. 4 years later, his next novel marks a second chance until Selena reviews it to help her struggling magazine. And when her devastating pan leads to a viral fight, the publicity boosts both of their careers. As the two are pitted against each other in public, their jabs about publishing, criticism, and who leads an artist's life give way to the realization that they are more like-minded than they thought. And after a snowy evening leads to a private, flirty exchange, they must navigate the unexpected intimacy of being truly wholeheartedly read. This is witty, charming, and deeply meaningful. And it's a clever debut that captures the ache of two people caught between criticism and connection. And it also showcases the complexities of identity in creative industries. It'll be perfect for fans of Sally Rooney and Emily Henry. Next up is Your Beloved Remains by Quinn Connor. Archivist Celia has spent her life at the remote Bazin College, a fading Ozarks estate sustained by the legacy of scandalous 19th century author Beatrice Donahue. When the college announces imminent closure, Celia discovers a manuscript pickled in formaldehyde and hatches a plan to save her home by forging Beatrice's infamous lost horror novel. To do so, she recruits her professional rival, a postdoc with a talent for mimicry and a dark secret of her own. And as the ghosts of the past encroach, their collaboration spirals into an obsession more twisted than any fiction. This is a gothic dark academia horror for fans of plain bad heroines and if we were villains. Next up is Freedom's Daughter by Celeste Headley. In the waning days of the antebellum South, millions of newly freed Black Americans faced laws aimed at preventing them from voting and learning. Were it not for an exceptional group of women, activists, educators, and organizers, the foundations for Black education may have never been laid. In Freedom's Daughters, journalist Celeste Headley writes these untold stories, but the project was fueled by a deeper connection. Carrie Still Shepperson, a key figure in the fight, is Headley's great-grandmother. So after a decade of research, Headley paints a vivid portrait of the woman who worked tirelessly to secure education for a generation born into freedom, and examines the power of access to schools, libraries, and education. Next up is Venus Vanishing by Rebecca Barrell. In 1928 Berlin, Hannah has deviated from the traditional women's life. After rejecting arranged marriage, she leaves home to join the city's underground art scene and begins working as a tailor in her spare time. She comes to know women and their bodies, first with measuring tape and later through layers of paint. And she finally feels like she can call herself an artist when a wealthy art collector commissions her to make a series of nude portraits. But after she finishes the acclaimed Venus painting, she discovers that her work is being tampered with and exhibited under a man's name, leading her to transform her art into an act of revenge. This is laced with queer desire and life-threatening secrets, and Rebecca Burrell's gripping debut brings her expertise as an art historian and curator to vivid life. And next is Dream in Darkness by Anne Liang. In China, in the Age of Brilliance, where gods freely wander, the death god has never failed to collect a soul until he meets Rugia, the noble god of healing. As the only god fated to die by his hand, Rugia offers to lift a centuries-old curse on death in exchange for 1 month reprieve. But when this plan to buy time and escape leads to the collapse of the celestial palace and the disappearance of the crown prince, the pair must travel the realms to retrieve him. This will be good for fans of I, Medusa and the Things God Break. And last but not least, we have To Vex and to Hex by Nina Noon. This is the pumpkin spice meets a witch's guide to magical innkeeping. It's funny, it's emotional, it's set in a cozy, enchanting bookstore, and it has high spice. And it's about a witch whose life revolves around a bookstore and its owner, who feel like her family. And when his annoying, horrible grandson arrives to help, she's determined to hex him into leaving. But he is also trying to hex her into mending his own relationship with his grandfather. So as shenanigans ensue, the two find that their feelings they're both trying to suppress. If they can stop hexing and vexing each other, they might be able to take a chance on one another. And that is it for me. Please reach out if you have any questions. And I hope you've enjoyed these books. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Margot. We'll now hear from Davina Tomlin. Davina is the Associate Marketing Manager for the School and Library team at Macmillan Children. They began their publishing career in the audio world and have been with Macmillan for 4 years. Outside of work, they like their books full of magic, their country music full of murder, and can usually be found trying every type of partner dance in Boston. Thank you for joining us, Davina. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Susan. So, as Susan mentioned, hi, I'm Davina, and I'll be representing the adult books from Macmillan Children's Publishing Group, which I know is a little bit confusing, but what's life without a little bureaucracy? Keeps things interesting. So just know that every title that I'm presenting today is an adult title, just like Margot's. We're just talking about different imprints. Now on to the books. So I'll start with a confession. Despite my dad's best efforts, I never learned to like fishing. But if anything was going to make me try again, it would be this book. Steven Weinberg clearly loves angling, and his infectious enthusiasm is present in every page of this really, truly gorgeously illustrated book. This is not a book only for the experienced fly fisher. This is a book for anyone curious about how to use this hobby as an avenue to connect with the outdoors and learn about the creatures that live there. And if you're curious about what beer pairs best with the fish you end up catching, if, unlike me, you actually end up catching something, Stephen has an answer for that too. Now we have My Beloved Other. This sweet and beautifully drawn graphic memoir challenges readers to do what can sometimes feel impossible. Keep hope alive for a future where difference is embraced as a source of unity and not division. Through charming banter and anecdotes from their personal lives, American writer-artist Nick Abadzis and British psychotherapist Angela Watson chronicled their nearly 40-year interracial relationship, their respective family histories, and their ongoing experiences with anti-Black racism in Britain and America, from the overt racial taunts of childhood bullies to the more subtle biases of the adult workplace. In To Life, the creator of The Rabbi's Cat brings us a deeply personal reflection on October 7th and its fallout. To Life sits somewhere between reflection and reporting, with emotive and soft art that immediately engages the reader. It offers an honest, intimate, and often very challenging look at what the future might hold for Jewish communities around the world. Next slide. Artfully balancing humor and heartbreak, this book leans into contradiction to deal a one-of-a-kind work that is charismatic, brilliant, but above all, compassionate. The author braces against the rising passions and deepening divides that threaten to overwhelm us, and instead embraces nuance, a belief in our common humanity, and the basic premise that both Israelis and Palestinians have a right to life. All Boys Aren't Blue opened the minds of readers across the country to different experiences of gender, Blackness, and what it means to grow up. But surprise, even after writing such a well-known manifesto, George still had more life to live. This book, and If I Die Before I Wake, is the story of what happened after becoming a household name, after writing the most banned book in America, and generally after just becoming an adult. In this memoir, readers are invited to witness as George navigates an HIV diagnosis, alcoholism, the loss of their grandmother, and nationwide book bans over the span of 15 years. Through the highs and lows of life in the spotlight, they have clung to their family and community like never before, finding their most authentic self along the way. Just like George, this book is beautiful, bold, and funny. It reminds readers that life keeps going and that there's always more to learn about ourselves and about the world. On May 21st, 2024, Ben Hatke walked out of his front door and kept walking. His goal, to circumnavigate the globe and return home with a greater understanding of our shared world. It's not something I would do, walk around the planet, but I'm so glad that he did. Next slide. This is the story of that journey. In it, he shines a light on issues of freedom and safety, the decency of strangers, and the changes that the world is going through. Each page of this book is breathtakingly intricate, with hand-drawn illustrations of landscapes and scenarios Ben faced along the way. Just like this one, which I think is absolutely stunning. It's the kind of book that you never want to leave. And when you finish it, you find yourself looking around with fresh eyes. Give it to patrons who love travel writing, memoirs, or just need to be reminded of the hope and joy that the world has to offer them. Public health is complicated. It's vital. And I have to tell you, it is absolutely fascinating. Those of us who don't work in the health sector often don't know about the complex web of initiatives and organizations that maintain our public health. But given the recent public health emergency that I don't really need to explain to you, we all know that it's there. This nonfiction graphic novel aims to demystify public health for the everyday person and showcase major public health successes and failures that we can all work together towards a healthy future. Through the medium of the graphic novel, complex ideas are made accessible and fun, and the stories the book tells make you excited to learn more about a topic you might never have known you were interested in. And now for some lighter fare. I know I've been doing a lot of heavier books, but it's time for romantasy to get a divine twist. And there's no one better to do it than the #1 New York Times bestselling author Adeline Grace in her adult debut. Aurélie Chanteloun is a knight in the kingdom ravaged by demons, and she has a peculiar gift. If Aurélie can claim her first kill, she'll inherit a legacy passed down through her bloodline, a soul bond with Uriel, a powerful angel. But when those she loves begin turning into the monsters she's sworn to destroy, Aurélie, desperate, forges a second and far more dangerous bond with Severin, a demon she can't trust, but who claims to know a way to end the war. Now Aurélie, Uriel, and Severin must team up to hunt down a cure capable of turning demons back into humans. But the more they learn and the deeper their relationships grow, the more Aurélie begins to question the war and her place within it. With both of her bonded on opposing sides, she'll have to make a choice. Continue to stand with the angels or risk everything by trusting a demon. Get ready for Julie Murphy like you've never seen her before as she finally turns her pen to the world of adult romance. In her sexy new series, The Undergrads, we meet chronic wallflower Daisy. Yes, she sees the irony, and she decides she's going to bloom in college. She plans to become a party girl who finally loses her virginity. But she didn't anticipate an epidemic of guys who want to take her home to mom rather than to bed. Enter Heath, a sexy barista who moonlights as a gifted tattoo artist, who overhears that she's planning on just getting it over with by hiring someone to have sex with her. He makes Daisy a deal. 5 dates, no more, no less. Then he'll sleep with her. Sounds frighteningly close to a relationship to Daisy, but I mean, he's got a British accent. What's a girl to do? And that's it for me.
What is a girl to do? Thank you so much, Davina. Next up, Lainey Mays. Lainey is the Library Marketing Senior Manager at HarperCollins Publishers. She produces their monthly video series, which brings librarians and great books together through interviews with authors, conversations with editors, and presentations of upcoming books. Her job allows her to hang out with librarians all day and talk about books. Can life get much better than that? Take it away, Lainey.
The answer is no. Life can't get better than that. Thank you. It's so good to be here. I think Library Reads is something we're also passionate to talk about, and it's always a thrill to get that email every month that's, who made the list. So love to be here to show you some more books you can vote on. On the next slide, you'll see all of our resources. It's one-stop shopping, librarylovefest.com for all of this. I just want to call out a couple of things, which is auto approval. So if you want to vote for Library Reads, but you want to be auto approved for every book we have available, eGalley-wise, we can set that up for you. That includes audio early listener copies as well. So that's exciting. The other thing is writers to watch. If you want to hear from some of these authors, which will come back, you'll see a little note on the slides if we've had or we'll have the author on an event. And the last thing is Library Reads related. Our newsletter, if you're not already subscribed, we have thank you audios, like acceptance speeches from people who make the list. So be sure to subscribe. Every month you can see that. Okay, next, let's get going. So these voting deadlines are coming up. I just want to do a quick reminder. Melissa Albert's adult debut, The Children, you might know her from the Hazelwood series. It's also our lead read of the season where the Salesforce votes. And then that was already on Writer's Watch. You can go listen. Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay, going to be on our May episode. We're so excited. Think AI meets Weekend at Bernie's, and that's all I'll say. And then we have Wisdom Corner by David Heskell Wyden, who will be on tonight. So you can join Writers to Watch at 7 p.m. And this is a second in the series, but it's set on the Rosebud Reservation, and we're just excited to hear more from him. He'll be on with Julie Murphy, Alexander Bracken, and Nadia Hashimi. It's going to be a great night, so I hope you can join us. Okay, into the books. So we have The Storykeeper by Kelly Rimmer. Best-selling author Kelly Rimmer, The Things We Cannot Say was the past book, and I feel like that just continues to be a really big bestseller even 7 years later. She's moved a little away from historical and gone with a contemporary story with a layered mystery. After a tumultuous year, Fiona Winslow finds solace restoring a decaying family estate she once called home. And then a curious book, The Midnight Estate, catches her attention in her late uncle's library. She dives into a tale that mirrors her own of love, loss, and betrayal, set against a gothic backdrop. Think Kate Morton's Homecoming. It invites readers into the heart of a family secret and kind of a book within a book mystery. Kelly also owns and operates Collins Booksellers Orange in New South Wales, Australia. So she's a bookstore owner as well. And she was on Writers to Watch. You can go hear more from Kelly on your own, the replay. Next is Tempest by Victoria Aveyard. You know Victoria, #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Red Queen series. This is her adult debut. We've been having a moment of adult debuts, especially on the Voyager side. And this book kind of has changed my brain chemistry a little. I think it's what I want in an epic tale, a little romance, morally great characters, twists and turns that I'll never see coming. It's a favorite of the season for me. And the tagline is, "May the sea always sing for you." So here we see two timelines. It's going to be a duology. It's the first book. We have Cat Rose featured in both. Before, she's Lady Katrine Rose of the Meridian Empire, chained to a loathsome lord, and he's older. He's like got a dwindling fortune. And then after, she's Widow Rose, queen of a pirate tavern on the Lyrian Sea, determined to be master of her own fate. And then we go back and forth between these changing worlds, her new frontier that she's arriving to, and in the future. So those two timelines. The Meridian Empire looms on the horizon, bent on reclaiming the wealthy colonies and crushing the pirate republic. It's a lot about like imperialism, which is really fascinating. I mean, if you're a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, this is the book for you. So ship after ship is captured, save for one, captained by a pirate who's kind of evading both noose and blade everywhere he goes. Legendary Valerian Kane. And Kat goes through love and loss, and we see her in this future timeline trying to grip onto her place in society, and she's got a devastating choice given to her: bring them Valerian or hang. And it's a deluxe hardcover edition. It's really gorgeous. That cover is gorgeous too. And I enjoy that there's not a ton on the page, so it's kind of good for all kinds of readers, especially people growing up with Victoria. And everyone has something kind of morally to go about. And she's also an older heroine. I just love seeing like a grown woman going through things. So this book is amazing. All right, next we have True Confessions of First Lady Freeman by Disha Filial. This is the most anticipated book of 2020, one of the most anticipated books of 2026. It is so good. I feel like I said it's like a Bravo show. Like you just kind of like I need to know what happens next. You might know her short story collection, The Secret Life of Church Ladies, multiple award winning and finalist for the National Book Award for Fiction. This is her first novel. It's like a big publishing event. You can see from the AFP we're so excited about this. And this is the story. I'll try to be succinct because there's a lot. It's a juicy tale. But Charisse Freeman ditched her humble roots. She married a megachurch pastor, 15 years her senior. She didn't really feel accepted on either side, what she was leaving or what she was joining, and she just really only wanted to be a part of this First Lady USA pageant to show everybody. So now she's turning 40. She's gonna enter, but now something from her past comes that's gonna haunt her, and it's unflinchingly dark, funny, frank, and packed with surprising turns. And I think it talks about the Black megachurch culture in a truthful way as it's being currently discussed. And it kind of satisfies a lot of different readers, especially grown readers looking for like the next book that's going to be talked about by everyone. I feel like it's going to be great for book clubs too. Like I said, it's juicy. And there are a lot of great quotes from Matteo Ascopour, Victor Laval, Rufy Thorpe. So everyone is loving this read. Next is My Sister's Going to Kill Me by Nina Simon. You probably remember Mother Daughter Murder Night, Nina's debut. It was a Reese's Book Club pick. The love keeps going for that book. It's been optioned for adaptation. And if you want a fun whodunit about sisters who kind of don't get along and have to come together to solve a murder, this is for you. Liv and Mandy are very different. One is the practical older sister, and then I love this description, a bedazzled human tumbleweed. So the two of them go on a trip every year. They're going to go rafting at the Grand Canyon with strangers, but now a body turns up and another one's hitting the floor, and now they don't trust each other. Are they going to be able to trust each other to work together and solve this mystery? It's got the aspects of a cozy mystery with a lot of laughs along the way. And we're getting some good quotes in for that. And I'm excited. Next is Knight Rider by Sloane Fletcher. This is a first in a duology, Western romance a la Lila Sage. This is Hollywood starlet Nina Keller searching for an escape. She arrives at Hunt Ranch after a terrifying assault, and she wants one thing, to rediscover who she is. Now, enter Maverick Hunt, a kind heart, unwavering patience of a cowboy. And she feels safe with him, and he's, again, a handsome cowboy. Say no more. Enchanted with ranch life and also drawn to his daughter Poppy, Nina begins to imagine a future for herself in the country. And that dream is threatened when her past catches up to her. So Knight Rider delivers like all the hot romance tropes you need, like big city actor, small town cowboy, slow burn, single dad. The spice is like 2 to 3 peppers untold, so that helps. And there's some suspense in there as well. Plus, there's another book coming, so we're excited to have more. Okay, next is Last Night Was Killer by Mary Pauline Lowry. I just think this is a really cool cover. If you, like me, loved Margot's Got Money Troubles and you are up to date on the Apple TV show based on the book, so you're just like all in that world, this is going to be the next good read for you. Tilly Turner signed up for an introductory pole dancing class. She was looking for a distraction from life, her mother's passing, her stand-up career in ruins, moving back to Idaho to her hometown in Idaho. She was kind of desperate to leave. She has her twin daughters in tow. And so she's just going through a lot, and she goes for a night out. She wakes up with a raging hangover, no memory of the evening before, and a dead body in the trunk of her car. I hate when that happens. And who is the dead man? More importantly, who killed him? She doesn't have an alibi, and she needs answers. So balancing both heart and hilarity with a witty take on the struggles of modern motherhood, this is going to be one to dive into. And Rufy Thorpe, author of Margot's Got Money Troubles, has great quotes. Has never had so much fun watching a fictional character try to figure out if she killed someone or not, and writes like no one else, a damn delight. But not even Rufy Thorpe, like Lou Burney, Amanda Eyre Ward, like so many quotes are coming, and the audiobook is really great as well, read by Helen Laser. So be sure to check this one out. Okay, and then in the minute or two I have left, I just want to go over a couple of roundups because they're reminders too. But we have some people eligible for the Hall of Fame. So as you know, once someone makes it on the third time into Library Reads, they go in the Hall of Fame. They can always make the Hall of Fame after. So these are eligible for that. We have Karen Slaughter, The Secrets We Hide. This is the second in her North Falls series. Broken Rival by Tessa Bailey. this is something new for her. It is romance with time travel. And then we have Lucy Foley, Murder at the Grand Alpine Hotel. She's writing Miss Marvel mysteries. So excited to have a new Lucy Foley. And then combine that with Agatha Christie. Wow. On the next slide, we have a few more. We have B.K. Borison. This is also just a beautiful package, but it's The Grim Reaper, a little haunting romance. We have It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Murder by L.A. Carter. This is the billionaire holiday romance in her series, kind of cat and mouse mystery as well. There's a cover that just came out for this, but I didn't have it for the slide. It's beautiful. And then we have Shattered Tempest. It's third Hurricane Moore's book. Yes, please. And then I just have a few notes on things on the horizon. So on the next couple of slides, we have Barbara Kingsolver. We have a follow-up to The Time Traveler's Wife. And we have another lead read. This is our fall lead read, Female Life on Planet Earth. It is gorgeous. And on the next slide, I'm running out of time. Oh, R.F. Kuang and Alexander Bracken will be on our event tonight. So please join us for that. Go to librarylovefest.com. And I think one more slide. Yeah. Lisa Kleypas, Becky Chambers. I feel like I don't have to say anything else. Just know it's coming, and we love them. You'll hear more about them. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lainey. We'll now hear from Melissa Croce. Melissa is the Senior Marketing Manager for Adult Library Titles at Simon & Schuster. She's been with the company since 2020, and when she's not reading everything from romance novels to poetry to narrative nonfiction, she likes to root for her many favorite hockey teams, play D&D, and watch K-dramas. Thanks for being here, Melissa.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you everyone again for spending the afternoon with us today. So let's get started. Next. First up, we have Scion by James Islington, the #1 New York Times bestselling author of The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few, is taking a break from his Hierarchy series, although don't worry, he'll be back soon. And he's publishing Scion, which is a fast-paced cyberpunk thriller that's John Wick meets Blade Runner. Readers follow an assassin who takes on a job that's not quite like the others and will take him to places that he's never experienced before. Next. The Three Graces of Pearl Street by Elizabeth Wellington Rollins. This is a wise and warm debut about 3 generations of an Italian-American family and the secrets that are unearthed when they come to live under the same roof after years apart. Surely nothing can go wrong. Graziella is the matriarch of the family. She is in her mid-90s, and she is still, to this day, keeping everyone fed in their working-class New York neighborhood, literally through her parish's food kitchen. Her daughter, Grace, is going through a midlife crisis and a divorce, and Grace's daughter, Ella, is stuck in limbo, going through a quarter-life crisis and trying to find her way forward, especially because she feels like the outcast of the family. Uplifting and emotionally layered, The Three Graces of Pearl Street explores the intricacies of what it means to balance tradition with modernity, to celebrate moments of ordinary grace, and to embrace the most authentic version of yourself. Next. Queenie is Working on It by Candice Carty-Williams. 10 years after readers last saw her, Queenie Jenkins is, to quote the Jeffersons, moving on up. She is 33, the editorial director for The Good Sis, a thriving media network amplifying the voices of Black women, a far cry from her former toxic workplace, thank God. With a great platform and a renewed sense of purpose, she is fighting the good fight and feeling good while doing it. So, when an appointment for research goes haywire and reveals startling truths about her own fertility, Queenie is confronted with a racing biological clock when she's not even sure that she wants kids in the first place. Her family is well-meaning, but not presenting any helpful advice. Her friends, she knows she can lean on them, but they are all very happily coupled up and can get very easily pregnant. So she doesn't feel like they can relate either. Queenie just feels like time is running out in all parts of her life. She's going to do what she thinks is best to get back on track, no matter how inadvisable. Bigger, not better. Older, not wiser. The beloved and flawed Queenie Jenkins is scared, frustrated, confused, but as the title says, she's working on it. Next. All right, The Witches of Cambridge by Alice Hoffman. It is Alice Hoffman's year, I feel like. Obviously, all of us saw the new trailer for Practical Magic 2, and on top of that, she has this great New series following two brilliant young women in 1950s Cambridge as they become immersed in a mysterious secret group of witches at Radcliffe University known as the Lilith Society. Ava is coming to Radcliffe College in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the 1950s. She meets Lauren, who is her opposite in every way. Lauren comes from a wealthy, well-established family. But what they have in common is that they are both recruited by the Lilith Society, a secret organization of witches dating back to colonial times. As they learn more about their legacy, Ava and Lauren form a close bond that is put to the test as they navigate their new power, friendship, and love. Radcliffe seems like a safe haven, but don't forget, this is the 1950s, and what was happening then? McCarthyism. So that is an ever-present threat to life in their little community in Cambridge. As the girls from the Lilith Society begin to go missing, Ava and Lauren realize that the witch trials of the past may not be as deeply buried as they once believed. Next. A Study in Sparkling by Jodi McAllister. So I'm really excited for this one. It is not a sequel, but a companion novel to An Academic Affair, which is also on this slide. I read An Academic Affair, and I thought that was one of the best contemporary rom-coms I've read in years, and believe me, I have read a lot of them. A Study in Sparkling follows Fiona Fisher, who thought that she had it all, loving husband, great kids, and best of all, a life far away from the suffocating expectations of her family. But when her husband reveals he's leaving her for a secret second family, which who can afford that in this economy? I'm stunned. Just as stunned as Fiona, who is also left devastated. Enter Satoshi Tsukamoto. He is the owner of a popular wine bar, and he's studying for the hardest test in the world, the Master Sommelier exam. There aren't enough hours in the day for anything else, except maybe for Fiona, his favorite customer. And of course, she's also the woman he's deeply in love with. On paper, these two don't make any sense. Satoshi is 8 years younger than Fiona and has no time for romance. She is a single mom now and doesn't know if she'll ever be able to trust anyone ever again, especially a man. But how can Fiona resist when Satoshi suggests they give in to their mutual attraction and just let off some steam, keep it casual? That always works. But how can Satoshi resist when the woman he adores is finally within his grasp and when they've agreed to keep things casual? This book is perfect for fans of Jasmine Guillory and Abby Jimenez. Next. Where the Truth Lies by Rupert Holmes. I wanted to briefly shout out this book, which is technically a reissue from the New York Times bestselling author of Murder Your Employer. Where the Truth Lies is a tour de force of sinister mystery, sly comedy, grand cuisine, and an all-consuming desire. And this also became a motion picture starring Colin Firth and Kevin Bacon. This follows a young reporter who gets way in over her head when she unearths long-buried secrets of a handsome showbiz team. Next. Maisie Wood by Tananarive Due. This is S.A. Cosby's All the Sinners Bleed meets Percival Everett's Erasure in a literary thriller. Award-winning author Tananarive Due returns with the follow-up to the multi-award-winning The Reformatory. With flashbacks to filmmaker Johnny's grandmother, a famous Black actress who, in Hollywood's golden era, brushed shoulders with giants like Lena Horne, Clark Gable, and Hattie McDaniel, this novel explores three generations, beginning with Maisel Washington's life as a young actress. 50 years after her death, Johnny will discover the secret she kept and nurtured since she was a child when she had a dark wish come true. A monster lurks outside of Maisie Wood, which is what his grandmother named her mountainous, isolated cabin retreat in California, which has been hidden for generations, and Johnny has just brought his family to its hunting grounds. Next. The Radiance by Ed Akhtar. This is a book about a mysterious accident along a country road that sparks an awakening and an investigation in the Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright's most daring work yet, a visionary novel of spiritual transformation. When a hit and run shatters more than just his body, a writer is caught between revelation and madness as an uncanny pull towards a brilliant campus colleague ensnares him in a scandal that threatens to destroy them both. What begins as a provocative portrait of academic and cultural warfare deepens into erotic entanglement, the exposure of a family secret, and the mystery surrounding the narrator's accident, both the violence and its aftermath. Next. Something Followed Us Home by Cynthia Pelayo. Dive into the chilling depths of Latina horror with Something Followed Us Home, a groundbreaking anthology edited by Bram Stoker Award winner Cynthia Pelayo. Something followed us home. It crawled within our prayers, slipped into our beds, watched from mirrors, waded in water, and learned our names. In these stories, horror does not announce itself. It possesses, feeds, whispers, and waits. Gathering chilling work from some of today's most acclaimed Latina voices, this anthology moves through haunted households, brutal landscapes, sacred spaces turned dangerous, and bodies claimed by forces both ancient and intimate. The dead murmur behind locked doors, bones rebuild themselves under merciless suns. Love becomes a doorway for demonic hunger, and prayers summon answers that arrive too late or not fully. Blood, devotion, and memory intertwine as the past presses back and with teeth. Next. Spell Struck by Martha Waters. In an alternate version of 1920s London, vestiges of England's magical past exist, but the use of magic has been outlawed, leading families still with powers to operate illegal speakeasies for a public still hungry for magic. Vesper runs her family's club, where a dash of spell powder and enchanted cocktail can add a little extra intrigue to the evening. But one night, she does this as she always does, and the magic goes too far. Word among the magical elite is spreading. Accidents have been happening more and more often, and club owners are worried that danger will spread. Maxwell Ashbridge, a one-time friend of Vesper's brother, has joined the government agency tasked with enforcing the magical ban and has a personal vendetta against the magical elite. He doesn't have a vendetta against Vesper, though. He promises her immunity for a club if she teams up with him to help him gain entry to other establishments and find out who is responsible for the contaminated magic. Their investigation does little to quell the chemistry they share, however, and as accidents continue and the fight to repeal the ban gains ground in Parliament, Vesper and Max will have to decide, is the magic between them worth fighting for? Next. Trad Life by Sarah Langan, from the three-time Bram Stoker award-winning author of Good Neighbors, comes a chilling tale of a journalist's descent into horror. Every day, millions watch Mia Wright, the trad wife queen, on her idyllic farm with her handsome husband, 7 perfect children, and a life of from-scratch meals and pastoral bliss. She's an icon of modern femininity. But behind every perfect image is a secret. Desperate to save her tarnished career, journalist Jenny Kaplan arrives at the farm to profile Mia. Jenny is ready to write a scathing expose, but soon she has more to contend with than stage videos and picture-perfect poses. There's something deeply wrong at the farmhouse, something that slithers through Jenny's dreams. She's losing time, hair, and she's starting to worry that she's losing her mind. There is a horror at the heart of this farm, and it's waiting just for Jenny. Trad Wife will make you question what's real and what's just a perfectly curated deception. Next. And our last book, this is The 12 Loves of Christmas. Is it too early to talk about Christmas? I would normally say yes, but given the amount of requests on NetGalley and Edelweiss that I've gotten for this title, that begs to differ. So I'm happy to give the people what they want. Countdown to Christmas with 12 seeded holiday love stories by beloved romance authors. There's one story sealed up like an advent calendar. You can read one each day in the lead up to Christmas, and it's full of love, warmth, and happily ever afters. Next. All right, that is everything for me. As always, check out simonandschuster.net/library. You can find a bunch of resources and more recommendations curated just for you. Next. That's it for me. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Our final presenter will be Golda Rademacher. Golda is the Library Sales and Marketing Director for W.W. Norton Company, which is the largest employee-owned independent book publisher in the United States. You can often find her checking out books at the local library or buying too many books at the bookstore. Subscribe to the Norton Library newsletter for updates and art giveaways, and follow her on Instagram and Blue Sky at WW Norton Library. Bring us home, Golda.
Thank you, Susan. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. So here you can see my contact information and the publishers that we distribute. And then here are some highlights of books coming out soon, including a new biography of Emily Bronte, the new fantasy novel from Oliver Darkshire, and we're excited about The Book of Birds by Robert Macfarlane. And then Astronaut. This is a darkly funny and politically resonant novel set in Romania in 1989. The book blends a detective novel with coming of age. First, we meet Leah, a rebellious and inquisitive schoolgirl who is looking for adventure. And then we meet Constantine, an idealistic police detective whose boss would rather tell the community that recent deaths have been caused by a rampaging bear than a possible serial killer. While everyone around them is flattened into submission, These two find the spirit to carry out small acts of defiance. Astronaut carries a powerful message. The lies we accept today become the truths of tomorrow. Appraisals is Claire Boyles' debut novel after her story collection, Site Fidelity. Maggie Brandt, a third-generation farmer, is cultivating a few acres of organic vegetables in rural Colorado, a place where industrial farming reigns supreme when the Great Recession hits. After months of unemployment, her husband takes a job with an oil and gas company, a decision that threatens their once happy marriage and alienates their teenage daughter, a budding environmental crusader. Appraisals is a moving portrayal of ecological and financial catastrophe, the powerful generational bonds between women, and the fierce impulse to protect the places we love. Former CIA agent David McCloskey's fifth novel is London Station. What if the CIA and British intelligence began spying on each other? Newly installed London Chief of Station Artemis Proctor must navigate a tense environment as old friends become adversaries and no one knows who to trust. Immersing readers in the technological revolution upending intelligence tradecraft, London Station explores what happens when politics threaten to destroy the special relationship between America and Britain. You'll be able to hear more about this book at the free online Library Journal Day of Dialogue on May 7th. Lydia Millett's stunning new dual novel, Fair Ones, follows Mara and Jen, two Brooklyn women in their 40s, reeling from the sudden death of their old college friend Claire. Fair, Mara's account, opens in the wake of initial shock as she and Jen try to come to grips with the enigma of Claire's death. Ones, told from Jen's point of view, picks up a year later as she and Mara wrestle with new relationships and old secrets. The book explores the ways we create and define ourselves through others. It is a love song to the annoyances of families, both chosen and unchosen, and to the everyday beauties of midlife friendships. Inspired by A Christmas Carol, Bonnie Jo Campbell has created a complex, gritty, spooky, and ultimately heartwarming holiday story that unfolds in an isolated Michigan farmhouse. In the spirits, redemption is never easy, but sometimes a family needs a good story as much as they need to face the truth. In this exploration of crime and punishment, salvation arrives at the darkest hour. The power of familial love and a sense of humor promise a brighter and more joyful new beginning for the whole family. The editor calls this August Osage County Meets A Christmas Carol, and Bonnie will be at ALA for a Library Reads panel and an ARC signing. Soldiers and Sailors is epic historical fiction by doctor and writer Terrence Holt. The novel follows the tortured life of Dr. Hal Adams as he returns to his decaying Midwest home. Accepting a job as a staff physician at a veterans home, Hal listens to the stories of patients, both alive and ghostly, who transport him to the horrors of World War II. As Elizabeth Samet said, Soldiers and Sailors unfolds the many ways in which the psychic residues of war haunt the living and harrow the dead. And now we have nonfiction. So Jill Lepore's next book is called The Rise and Fall of the Artificial State. Lepore traces our increasing dependence on and strangulation by data. She demonstrates how technology has corroded global democracy, leading to the destruction of both human community and capacity for self-government, and creating a new form of AI government where AI will recommend the course of action to humans in place of human-run legislatures. It's not all terrible, though. Lepore says that it can be dismantled, but disassembly requires identifying the parts and tracing the sources, which is what this book does. Live, Laugh, Love is the new book from the author of Jesus and John Wayne, Kristen Kobes-Dumay. Here she unearths the roots of the glittering, Instagram-ready culture of white Christian femininity. Dumais introduces us to religious innovators who taught that positive thinking was the secret to spiritual and material success, and reveals how these notions gave rise to a new feminine ideal. The book foregrounds the experiences of ordinary women, weaving their personal narratives with cultural critique. But Live, Laugh, Love also gives us the prehistory of famous women such as Joanna Gaines, Jen Hatmaker, and Rachel Hollis. By tracing its entanglement with post-feminism, capitalism, and white supremacy, Dumais demonstrates how this powerful yet elusive vision of womanhood has shaped lives, families, and politics for more than a century. Signals Across Vast Distances is a collection of essays and tales from Elizabeth Alexander. Some of the essays offer close readings of visionary poets interwoven with visual art that reveal how poetry and art can sustain us. She also includes personal stories, like reading the poem at Barack Obama's inauguration, or sitting by her son's bed in the hospital. Through it all, she asks, what will we each do to make the dream of freedom for everyone real? Every page conveys her hope that we recognize the abundant resources we carry within. Kobuk the Destroyer is one of those science books full of interesting facts and stories that you'll want to share with everyone around you. It takes you inside the workings of a secretly fascinating job and an industry that is mostly invisible to civilians, but is actually critical to making the world run. From child-proof bottle caps to the cars and planes we ride, how do we come to trust the products we use every day? As Alex Davies reveals, this is thanks to the behind-the-scenes, maniacal yet methodical work of test engineers who divine how everything and anything could go wrong and plan for it in advance, using rocket sleds, chicken cannons, destructive bears, and any means necessary. Uncovering the surprisingly profound science behind the fine print on the label, Kobuk the Destroyer is an entertaining and illuminating read. And here's another behind-the-scenes book. The Last Best Place on the Internet by Richard Cook is an exploration of Wikipedia, how it was built, why it thrived, and what we lose if its ideals disintegrate. He explores the site's shifting role in establishing fact in a time of deep uncertainty about truth and authority, the often fierce debates between inclusionists and deletionists about what is worth knowing and preserving and who gets to decide, and the great peril Wikipedia faces today from bots, political division, and artificial intelligence. The Last Best Place on the Internet is a fascinating journey into the hidden world of one of the most vital and most endangered cultural achievements of our time. And in case you haven't heard of it, the calculation of volume from New Directions is kind of a big deal. This speculative fiction septology follows Tara Selter, who is stuck in a November 18th that keeps repeating itself. At the beginning of the first volume, she is on her 122nd November 18th. With each book, Bala expands the world and characters. Book 1 was a New Yorker Best Book, a Washington Post Notable Book, longlisted for the National Book Award in Translation, and shortlisted for the Booker International Prize. Book 3 was shortlisted for the National Book Award in Translation, and Book 4 just came out on April 14th. Then you have plenty of time to catch up on the first 4 volumes before the 5th one comes out in November. And we have a lot more cool books coming out this fall, so I hope you'll take a look at our full catalog. And here again is my contact information. Thank you all so much for joining us, and please reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Golda, and a huge thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, slide presentation, title list, and certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can find archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. 150 years of empowering library professionals, advancing access to knowledge, and protecting the freedom to read. Since 1876, the American Library Association has embodied America's aspiration for knowledge and democracy, championing the professionals who make that promise real every day. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit ala150.org to learn how you can join us in helping to shape the next 150 years of library. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. A huge thank you to our panelists and sponsors, Macmillan Publishers, HarperCollins Publishers, Simon & Schuster, W.W. Norton Company, and to our partner, LibraryReads. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.